Oh yeah, sorry, I turned off his no sign up. I'm still thinking this reverb thing happening. Oh, example.
I'd like to bring the August 10th, 2016 Planning and Zoning meeting to order. Would everybody please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Abbott?
Here.
Commissioner Selberg?
Here.
Commissioner Brule? Here. Commissioner Azarmi?
Here.
Commissioner Walker? Commissioner Gabrielson?
Present.
Commissioner Kelly? Commissioner Gordon?
Here.
Chairman Flouché?
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Thank you. A couple of announcements. Anyone who has not yet signed in, please do so at the table located in the lobby. Should anyone wish to speak, please complete the request to speak form, which is also located in the lobby table next to the sign-up sheet. A request to speak form must be completed for each item you would like to speak on, including sub-items. Please note that there are stairs on the right, left, and center aisle, and we ask that you use caution when using the stairs. There's also a ramp located at the audience's left. If anyone has written comments, exhibits, petitions, photos, or letters they intend to present at today's meeting, please have 17 copies and give them to the staff member at the back of the auditorium. She's got her hand up. If you do not have 17 copies, you may use the table with the overhead camera next to the podium. Well, we don't have that anymore, but to present your documents. If you want your documents to go on record, you must hand them to the clerk after the presentation with the agenda item clearly marked on the document. Members of the public cannot speak to staff members that are sitting on the table with microphones up front during the meeting. If you have any questions, please see the staff member located in the back of the auditorium who can meet you in the lobby. All speakers will be limited to 2 minutes to make their presentations and statements. Everyone, please turn off your cell phones or put them or pagers and place them on vibrate during the meeting. If you must receive a phone call, please leave the meeting area and go outside to have your conversation. We also ask the audience to refrain from talking with one another during the presentations and discussion. Today, the Planning and Zoning meeting will hear public testimony and then forward the recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. The items with a recommendation made by the Commission will be heard by the Board of Supervisors on Tuesday, September 6th at 9:30 a.m. in the same location, with the exception of any continued items. Everyone attending the meeting is asked to remember that the administrative building and campus are a tobacco-free area, which means no smoking is allowed curb to curb. Also, only bottled water is allowed in the auditorium. No food, sodas, coffee, etc. is allowed. If there are any items remaining on the agenda, the Commission will break for lunch at 1 p.m. Approval of the minutes from last month. Has everybody had a chance to review? If so, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to pass the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gabrielson, second by Commissioner Selberg. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Anyway, all right. Let's, what do we do here? Excuse me just a minute. I know it tells me this.
You or is that your computer?
It tells me the plug isn't working. Oh, yeah.
Is your green light on?
Yeah, no. Something's wrong here. It's about ready. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right. Item number 1A.
Good morning, Mr. Flouchet, members of the Commission. Item 1A is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from a neighborhood commercial land use designation to a public facilities land use designation, and an amendment to the Virgin River Communities Area Plan from a neighborhood commercial land use designation to a public facilities designation to allow for a water storage and wastewater treatment facility for assessor parcel number 402-33133 in the Beaver Dam vicinity. The applicant indicated that the proposed water storage and wastewater treatment plant would serve the area for a future RV park. After review of a proposed general plan amendment and APN 402-33133 in the Beaver Dam vicinity, staff has verified that this application is in compliance with the goals and policies of the Mojave County General Plan and the Virgin Rivers Community Plan. Staff recommends approval of the proposed area plan amendments with standard conditions.
Thank you very much. Is the applicant present? Okay, we have no speakers. Would you like to address the commission, please? Please state your name and address.
I'm Dwight Zamp, and I'm the consultant for the owner. And I'm just here to answer any questions that you might have. I
Okay.
don't really have anything to present.
All right, thank you very much. Yes.
Have you designed the sewer treatment plan? Is it already been designed for this property?
Yes, the plan is designed and subject to approval of the zoning. ADEQ is ready to review it.
Okay, some of the letters of objection was about, the smell, the odor and all that. Is it been addressed in the design stage?
Yes, it'll be a totally enclosed plant. It'll be installed subsurface, and it meets all the setback requirements set forth in the
Well, not the
regulations.
setback requirement, because, we have a couple of these different area in the residential. I'm from Fort Mojave area, Desert Lakes Estates area. They have one that was constructed 30 years ago or more, and I can understand what the neighboring properties are complaining about, that, the odor from the sewer plant can be, creating problem for the neighborhood, depends on, how they are. So there are some facilities that, the treatment plants that, they would be able to contain that. Is yours one of those?
Yes, it is. We've taken that into consideration, and we have a number of facilities that I've designed over the years through the state that are in very sensitive areas for odor. The process we have chosen is an aerobic process, so the generation of odor within the process is very minimal, but that's the reason that it's enclosed. The only time it's ever exposed where the odor could escape would be during servicing, which would be a very limited amount of time. And we do also have a filtration system that creates a vacuum on the vessel itself so that prevents the odor from coming out. It creates a negative pressure to capture that.
Has that been released to the Public Works? Have they reviewed it? Because we didn't get any comments.
I think
I believe it was, but I can't say for certain.
Okay, do we have anybody from Public Works? Yeah,
yes.
Greg, can we have you?
Can you fill us in a little bit on the,
I have not received an actual review packet.
okay, do you,
Okay, let me ask you, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Okay, Greg, do you have any process in when you review it, in terms of like, the odor, or is that something that it is within the policies and the guidelines of the Public Works when you have a residential neighborhood?
Mr. Arzarmi, Chairman Fluchet, I have not received the packet for this as of yet. I can't speak for anybody else in our office as to whether they have received the packet or not. We would very much so rely on an ADQ evaluation of this project, and if we received confirmation letter from ADQ stating that the project, meets standards and specifications, we would more than likely defer to them. So he said that they are, that the ADQ is already willing to review it. So it sounds like it's on track to me,
Mr. Chairman?
as far as I can see.
Yeah, Mr. Van Weer, when the ADQ provides the minimum requirement that, they can comply with, they do not as much address, about the odor that the neighboring properties are concerned about. Are you set up to be able to evaluate their application and make sure that that part of the gentleman is saying that, that is already is in the design that was considered? So are you set up to be able to evaluate that and say that the system is such that would minimize the odor problem for the neighboring properties?
Well, in the Development Services Department as well, we have an environmental portion of the department, and that is headed up by Cullen Patillo, and he will also be able to, I'm sure, have an opportunity to review this as well. So I do believe the county has this covered.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Director Hunt, is that something that, we can, because, obviously that information was not released to Mojave County. Is it possible for the applicant to provide the design that they're planning to do, so your department would be able to evaluate that and give us a comment? I would say that, because right now I can see a concern about that, and it is a viable concern. So my recommendation to the commission is to give the gentleman time, about 30 days, to work with you and be able to, find out if that issue is addressed within the design that they are providing.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Arzarmi, we can certainly do that. The procedure is We don't have a delegation agreement with ADEQ for sewer plants themselves, but we do for sewer lines. But we can certainly review it and make that a condition. But I would suggest that you make a condition of your approval here that it will come through the Development Services DEQ division for that particular review and comment.
Commissioner, I do have a set of plans I can make available today, plans and specifications, if that would help facilitate the review and alleviate any concerns.
I've been to a few of these treatment plants in Mojave County and more down in Lake Havasu City. In fact, I've been inside them. And are you familiar with the ones down in Lake Havasu? Or
Some of
okay.
them.
Anyway, the point is that it looks like a house. Is that your plan to make them look like not part of a different neighborhood, or the aesthetics of the whole thing?
Well, the physical plant itself will be subgrade, so all that you would see would be about 6 access ports, which are roughly 4 feet in diameter, with a cover on them that is sealed. So you wouldn't see anything walking on the site other than it looked like a large flagstone or something like that you'd see laying on the ground. There would be a building there which would be designed for the operator to keep records, for a small lab, and to house the equipment that would be above ground, which would be basically a blower system and your control panels. So that would be the only structure that you would be able to see walking up on site.
Okay, because a lot of times the building itself helps deter the smell, but
Yes.
the ones that I've been inside, you couldn't even tell that it was a sewer plant. So.
Yeah. Well, having worked with both, and generally if you have an open top system or a system that incorporates what we call anaerobic or anoxic processes, it's very important to do that, because then you can capture the odor inside the building and drag it through a carbon filter. We actually do that in the tank itself, so it's all done subsurface, and the only thing that gets vented to the atmosphere is the air after it goes through the carbon filtration system.
Okay. Sounds good. Any questions of the speaker?
Mr. Chairman, I was
Yes.
just curious for my own knowledge. As far as the smell, is there some like criteria that you have to meet to make sure that you're there, some particulate or something like that the system would have to meet ADEQ, or do they have anything like that?
Well, there are odor thresholds that we look at in the design as far as a specific criteria written into the standard. It's not written in terms of odor threshold, but in setback distances. And those distances are developed based upon the experience of the department has had as far as how far that odor is carried. Every process will have kind of its own unique characteristics. And so if you were doing an open type system that was not contained inside of a house or totally enclosed, your distance would typically be like 1,000 feet. If you actually house it or contain the odor and take it through an active odor treatment system, that distance can be reduced down based on the size of the plant to as low as about, I believe it's 50 feet. In this particular project, we're looking at a very small system going in to serve the RV park, because there's 96 units. And so it'll have a capacity of 15,000 gallons and operating at about half of that capacity. But the design also allows for the expansion of the system in the future to serve some adjacent land that we anticipate will be developed in the future. So it will actually end up, it could end up as large as 90 to 100,000 gallons.
And then what would be the setbacks that you're looking at with this plant that you've designed?
I believe they're 100 feet. I can double check that, but I believe they were 100 feet.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Definitely the 100 feet. I know that, that is the minimum requirement, is not stopping the, the gas that is released, to stop at 100 feet. So there are some designs that is specifically designed for residential area. So that's what was my question. And the other thing is, your treated, effluent, is that going to be pretty much like a plus when it's all done, or is it, what, is that B plus?
Yes, the first phase of the system, that's up to 15,000, will actually be disposed of in a leach field or a soil absorption field, so it'll be below grade as well. When the system is expanded, we anticipate having a discharge into the Virgin River, and at that time, it would be A+.
Okay, so,
It'll be, at the current time, it's A.
and, okay, so it would be A+. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Any additional questions of the speaker?
Mr. Chairman, may I just ask a question? The odor treatment system that you're designing, the carbon scrubbing system, I'm not familiar with it, but I assume there is some thresholds for residential or, industrial areas. So can you tell us about it? Is there any thresholds for odor release or
That's a good question, a tough question to answer. Actually, I would say the realistic threshold is that any time there is a noticeable odor that you can smell, the carbon gets replaced and rejuvenated, because there should be, on the discharge side, there should not be an odor ever. So the system, it's a fan system that draws a vacuum on the tank, so all the gases in the tank are not allowed to escape, even when the lid is open, but they're drawn through because of the negative pressure. And then they flow through it's a canister, and the best way to describe it would be like a 55-gallon drum that is with that activated carbon in it. And so it flows through that, and then there's discharge.
Okay.
And the discharge will be right at the operation building. So the odor, if there is an odor ever generated there that gets discharged, it's noticeable at the plant right away.
So I understand the commission may go in that direction, that ask us to review from that standpoint. And can you, I was going to ask if the commission votes for that provides some brochures and track record with other.
I would be more than happy to provide you technical specs on the unit. It'll be a unit that is manufactured by Carbitrol.
Yeah.
They have sold, well, I know for projects that I've done, there's probably been there's been several hundred of them put in service, and I'd be glad to give you references of facilities that use them that you could talk to. The other thing you could do is you could go to the website and actually see pictures of the installation and the unit if you'd like to do that.
Yeah, I'm interested on track record in the past, where it has been installed, similar system, and how did the neighborhood react to it?
I think one of the best examples that I could give is there's a facility that I designed. It's in Yuma, Arizona at the Fortuna del Oro RV Resort. Okay. And the treatment plant is actually built right in the middle of the golf course. They play golf all the way around it. And it has setbacks no farther than you and I from where the edge of the greens or the golf course is. That system has been in almost 30 years. And the only time, and I am I manage the system, I oversee the staff there. And the only time during my tenure there has been once we had an odor problem, and that was during some maintenance work. And we did have a complaint from a neighbor, We addressed it, and we're able to mitigate it within a couple of days. But there's a 30-year track record of this same type of system, same type of odor control in place there.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
So basically what you said that, the odor and the smell is being respected in the design, the way that, is going to be there. So you don't have any problem, the Mojave County Environmental Health to review your design to make sure that, that is not going to cause any problem for the neighboring properties.
Oh, no concern at all.
So, Director Hunt, which way would be better? Do you want us to have approval with conditions, or do we want to give 30 days for the applicant to work with you and bring that item back?
That would be at the pleasure of the commission. I think what the process will be that they will submit for building permit, and then in that process, the environmental division also reviews it, and there would be a condition. If you put a condition on it at that time, we could review it. But if you want to condition it, that submit it ahead of time, that could be even better.
Commissioner, could I suggest, since the application is ready to start through the review process with ADEQ, if we could get preliminary approval of zoning, that will start their application review, and I would be more than happy to go through them and see that the county was brought in, or we voluntarily will bring it in and go through that with you, because as the owner and operator of the facility, I assure you, we don't want neighbors complaining of odor.
That's true. Mr. Chairman, first of all, the commission is an advisory commission. The Board of Supervisors are basically the ultimate decision makers.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that, if the commissioners, they agree, we would put that condition in there, which you would be able to have time to work with them. And, then I'm not sure if within 30 days, knowing ADEQ very well, you would be able to accomplish much. But, if, by that time that you go before the Board of Supervisors, you have everything available, then, it would be that. So I don't know if there's any other commissioners have any comments, otherwise I can make a motion.
Okay. Any additional
Danny,
speakers?
I'm no,
Yes. Go ahead,
I've
Bill.
been experienced in some of this stuff, but I'm way away from being an expert. But they've got a recommendation in here for approval based on ADEQ requirements. Now, I realize you have concern how much they do, but I feel with what he's presented and what staff is asking for, I'm comfortable with going ahead with it.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Commissioner Abbott, ADEQ has a minimum requirement.
I know.
So, they can,
That minimum is
yeah.
It's
So the
pretty good, though.
Yeah, I know, but the treatment plan that, they can approve, and they have approved it most of the cases, the odor is not really being considered. In case of the, golf course, in the middle of golf course, that's a different story. Or, City of Bullhead City, they had it at the Rotary Park. There was, there are different applications in different areas. So basically, I believe that, we want to make sure that those residents, as you can see on the GIS map, they're not, the proximity is very close. So my thinking is that, that would be additional mechanism in place that at least would be able to review the design and make sure that that is respected. That's my comment.
Yeah, but doesn't ADEQ, they're the ones that are supposed to make sure that it's up to code and,
Everything's up to code, but they, as I said, it works, it is approved, but it's the minimum requirement.
okay.
They don't consider other factors like residential area or industrial, or, there is no differentiation.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
staff would like to note that the item before the commission right now is the plan amendment, and a condition as to department review during the building process for issues such as odor would probably be better placed on 1B.
Yeah.
That is actually your rezone action.
Okay, thank you. Any additional speakers or any questions of the speaker? Any comments? I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve per staff recommendation with the condition to have applicant work with environmental health on the design that they have. I understand that's a zoning part, but, I would like to have it in 1A also.
Second motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Zami, a second by Commissioner Abbott. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
staff would like to note that I believe the reviewing body will be Development Services, our Environmental Quality Division,
Yeah.
as
it is.
opposed to Environmental Health.
Okay.
Thank you.
Noted. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 1B.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, item 1B is evaluation of a request for rezone of assessor parcel number 402-33133 from an AR agricultural residential 1 acre minimum lot size zone to an M2 general manufacturing 1 acre minimum lot size zone to allow a water storage and wastewater treatment plant in the Beaver Dam vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. We received 3 response letters. All 3 were opposed. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions and with conditions set forth by the commission.
Okay. The applicant is present. We have no speakers on the item. Any additional thoughts to the speaker or the applicant? Yes.
I'm going to push that button.
My question is clarification for the staff recommendation that we're planning to add on to this item as well. We're asking them to review the design with respect to odor containment in a residential area and to give us information as far as the design and how it addresses that issue. Is that specifically it? Thank you.
Any additional questions of the commission? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion the same as the item 1A.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Commissioner Zami, a second by Commissioner Selberg. Any additional comments? Okay. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 2.
Item 2 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of the northerly portion of assessor's parcel number 404-2405 from an AR agricultural residential 1 acre minimum lot size zone to a C2H highway commercial 1 acre minimum lot size zone to allow for an HVAC shop in the Arizona Strip vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. And staff would like to note that only the north 1 acre of the property will be rezoned to C2H. And we do recommend approval of standard conditions.
Question. Which one's going to be zone C2H?
Just the north 1 acre of the parcel.
Oh, okay. All right. Is the applicant present? Would you like to address the commission? Please state your name and address.
My name is Edson Knutson from Hilldale, Utah. I don't have anything to add. I just want to answer any questions if there is any.
Okay. Any questions of the speaker? I guess not. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Staff would like to note that there were 2 letters of objection that were received for this item. They should be in your packet.
Let me see that. Any questions or comments from the commission? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Abbott, second by Commissioner Gordon. Any additional comments, questions? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 3.
Item 3 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 306-37009E from an AR-10A agricultural residential 10-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR-2A agricultural residential 2-acre minimum lot size zone for future single-family development in the Golden Valley vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. And staff does recommend approval with standard conditions.
Okay, is the applicant present? We have one speaker on the item, Nancy Edmondson. Nancy Edmondson. Okay. Kathy, would you like to address the commission?
Only if you have questions.
Thank you. Any questions of the commission? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve per staff recommendations.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gabrielson, a second by Commissioner Selberg. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 4.
Item 4 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 306-08-109A from an AR agricultural residential 1-acre minimum lot size zone to a C2H highway commercial 1-acre minimum lot size zone to allow for a commercial retail use in the Golden Valley vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. And staff does recommend approval with standard conditions.
Applicant present? Okay. We have no speakers on the item. I do have one question for you, Kathy.
Good morning.
Good morning. The map that I'm looking at does not go all the way to Highway 68. What's between this piece of property and Highway 68?
Nothing.
Nothing, that's
Butts
just
up
a
to
big
the right of
right-of-way?
way.
Okay,
Yeah,
for
it
the
does butt
highway.
up to that.
Okay. It's just square in the middle of nowhere here. All right.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Kathy, the access to this property is going to come off of the side street or directly to the 68?
Yeah, it has direct access to 68, but that will likely not be the access. The same owner for this parcel owns the adjacent lots to the east. There is an approved site plan and an access on that side road, and he indicated to me that that was where this access would be. Because I didn't have a specific site plan for this site and how it would connect up, I didn't present that to you.
And it seems there was a concern about the traffic. That's part of the process that Public Works is going to review and ADOT and all that. So I just want
Right.
to make sure that, for the record, explain that. Thank you.
Have you already done your traffic study?
No.
Okay. All right. Any questions of the speaker?
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve per staff recommendation.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Zami, a second by Commissioner Gabrielson. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 5.
Item number 5 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 352-19007 from an AR 36A agricultural residential 36-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR 15A agricultural residential 15-acre minimum lot size zone for future single-family homes in the Willow Creek Ranch vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. We did receive multiple letters and emails in opposition, two of which were actually received this morning.
Is the applicant present?
Staff does recommend approval with standard conditions.
All right, the applicant is present. We have several speakers on this item. I'll start off with Terry Radke. Please state your name and address.
Good morning. Terry Radke, resident of Willow Creek Ranch. I'm also the vice president of the Property Owners Association out there. And the people I represent or that I've talked to are not willing to see our property broken down into smaller sizes. My reasoning for it is that our dues that we pay to maintain the roads primarily is based on the acres you own. So if you start breaking the properties down, increase it, selling more property, increasing traffic, we'd have to change our bylaws to affect where people that are using the same amount of traffic or roads as a 36-acre lot would have to somehow try to recover the additional traffic, okay, without increasing the dues on everyone. And in order to do that, we'd have to change the bylaws. And the bylaws, to change those, requires 2/3 majority of all owners. So it's a difficult thing to do, as you can imagine.
How much traffic is out there?
Well, there's, what, 350 lots approximately?
How many people live out there?
Full-time?
Yeah.
Oh, somebody can help me? Probably something less than 100, but there's a lot of part-time vacationing people.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Thank you.
Yes.
So this large land was subdivided. I have a question to ask you.
I'm sorry?
This large parcel was subdivided into, 36-acre kind of, and then you're saying the CCNR was recorded? And you do have an association in place?
I'm sorry, I'm very hard of
Do you
hearing.
have the CCNR recorded with this subdivision?
Yeah, we have, our CCNRs, or actually our bylaws, don't, are set up so that, if I understand your question, we collect dues based on total acres that you own. So if you own 40, 50, 36, you pay, or if you own 2 or 3 lots, you pay that amount of dues.
Different than a CCNR, though.
Mr. Chairman?
Mike?
I guess this is probably a question for staff. One of the letters of objection talks about that the CCNRs restrict these properties to be 36 to 40 acre parcels. Have we checked that? Because if that's the case, I don't know how, if the covenants or if there's restrictions over the property without the homeowners association's approval to release that, can we legally split this?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Gordon, staff did not research it because we do not have jurisdiction to regulate CCNRs. That is essentially a private contract between the homeowners and the association.
That's my understanding.
There's some people here that are far more knowledgeable than me. I just happen to be the first one called up.
Okay, all right. Well, we have several people. Yes, Mr. Hunt.
Mr. Chairman, just to add what Chris said, that yes, the answer is yes to Commissioner Gordon's question, that the county can impose zoning regardless of the CCNRs. The CCNRs don't override zoning. But on the other hand, what the gentleman said, that if the zoning changes, they would have to rewrite their own CCNR, so that could cause hardship to them.
So but this action is to rezone so that it can be split. But if legally the property is restricted so it can't be split, it seems like an action that we don't need to take. But
Yeah.
how do, I don't know.
Well, legally, you can do the zoning, and then the CCNR is a private contract between the property owners, so they would have to work that out, and it could cause a hardship. That's right.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I have a question for Terry.
Yes.
Just to verify, what off-ramp do you get off to go to this property, off of 40?
Willows Ranch, exit 87.
And you go
We go
South?
north initially, north.
north?
Our property, though, the Willow Creek Ranch is on the south and the north side of the freeway.
And then how far off of 40 is it?
It's on 40, both sides.
Right there.
Willow Creek Ranch system is both sides of south and the north side of I-40.
If you go back to when this was split off and sold off, that is a very, very, very rural area.
Yeah.
And people were very adamant on getting no less than 40 acres, 40 acres minimum. There was even people wanted it to be 120 acres. So as soon as I saw this, normally I'm all for anything staff recommends to split property. But this is a different situation. So I have a problem with this, splitting this down from where it is. And then you bring up the subject about the homeowners. So that introduces something else. So just throwing that comment out.
Thank you.
I mainly want to know the off-ramp.
Mr. Gordon?
I agree with Mr. Abbott, and I guess one question for staff, are any of these other parcels, have they ever been rezoned to AR 15A, or are they all still AR 36A?
Chairman Flouché and Commissioner Gordon, there is one parcel nearby to the southeast of the subject parcel that did get rezoned to AR 24A and AR 10A.
And is that part of this Willow Creek Ranch?
Yes, it is part of the Willow Creek Ranch subdivision.
Was that done recently or a long, long time ago, do you know?
I believe it was 2005.
Yeah. Commissioner Gabrielson?
As I understand POAs and HOAs, when upon buying property, it is disclosed, and you are entering into an agreement that your property will not be split between, lower than a certain amount of acreage. And underneath that, it also states that if you are going to make changes, splits, or do something different, it takes 3/4 of all property signatures to change that and agree to change the bylaws of the POA. I do believe I'm correct with this. So I have, reservation on this big, as far as that goes.
I think that seems to be the consensus. Any additional questions of the speaker?
We would like to listen to other questionnaires.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Skip Porter?
Good morning.
Good morning. Please state your name and address.
Skip Porter, 19458 East Mesa View Trail, Kingman. I own the property that borders this parcel on the east, and I also own the parcel that borders it on the north side. I think this gentleman was referring to the parcel that was previously split. There's only a couple in Willow Creek Ranch. That parcel borders me on the south side. When that parcel was split, the signs were taken down that showed that it was going for rezoning. And I think that may have been one of the reasons no one in that ranch was notified, okay? Well, this parcel here was scheduled for a meeting, and I went down and looked at the signs and spoke to the people from the county that put the signs up, which were right along my property line. And not 20 minutes after those signs were put up, the real estate agent in the area came and took those signs down, took the sign down off the bulletin board, and took the signs down that went down Lookout Canyon. So I don't know what we can do about this type of action that's been going on at Willow Creek Ranch, but I will guarantee you that people do not, in this ranch, do not want these lots split down. Those two that were split, the one was foreclosed on because they're smaller parcels and they're not easy to sell and get rid of. So, thank you. Appreciate
All
it.
right. Any questions of the speaker? Thank you, sir. I'm going to have to apologize up front. Dayton Gardner? Garwin?
My name's Dayton Gardner. I preside at 19315 East Willow Creek Road, which is about a mile from this wanting to divide the property. I'm also the road chairman for the POA at this time. And it would increase our traffic if they start splitting these up. And people want their space to stay. Now, I've lived there since '02. And I know about the two splotlets that was done, and I think both of them was kind of underhanded, and the POA board didn't understand what they should do to prevent it at that time. They didn't know. So that's why I think they were let through, besides they took the signs down before. So I was there both times when they split both of these properties, and it'd put a lot of strain on our roads if they start doing this. And that's all I have to say. Most people that I'm concerned with that ask me to tell you that they don't want lot splits either, so that's it.
Okay, any questions of the speaker?
Mr.
I have a
Yes.
question.
Mr. Abbott?
I think I know the answer, but how do you get your roads graded now? How do they get maintained?
Right now, we're doing our own roads. We've started doing our own road maintenance for 2 years.
The homeowners chip in, or?
We use a skip loader and dump trucks and backhoes. We don't have a backhoe. We rent a backhoe or hire a backhoe.
You get contributions from the landowners?
It's $5 per acre for the dues for the POA, which takes care of the roads.
Per month or per year?
And if they start splitting it up, we'd have to increase the dues because of the property. We can hardly keep up with it now with the roads.
You had a question there, is that $5 per month or year?
Pardon?
Is that $5 per month or a year?
No, year.
Thank you.
Per acre.
Any additional questions of the speaker? Hearing none, thank you very much. Darrell McCushy? Darrell, M-I-K-S-U-S-K-I? Ah, okay, thank you. Didn't want to butcher it too badly.
That's okay. Morning. I'm just here. I have a lot of friends there. I'm a resident there.
Your name and address, please.
Yep, David McCuskey, South Mojave Kid Road, up there at Willows. And everybody I know does not want this to happen. And I know a lot of people up there. I've been there 10 years full-time.
Okay. Any questions of the speaker? Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Al Andrews?
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Al Andrews. I live at 17768 East Cougar Court up on Willow Creek Ranch. I own 2 parcels. I've lived there full-time. I want you to know that under the original purchase agreement that we bought that property, there was supposed to be a minimum of 36 acres for all the properties. One of mine is 36, one of them is 39. I want you to know that our roads are primitive roads, and we have to pay to have them maintained. Before we started working on them, we had operators out there taking care of the roads once a year, usually after the monsoons. And the owners pay for them based on our acreage, as you have heard, $5 an acre per year. But to give you a concept of what we're talking about, one of my frontages is 1,400 feet long. That's my 36-acre parcel. And my $200 that I pay for that, if someone comes down that road and tears it up, $200 doesn't do anything. A load of dirt will cost you $500 just for one load of dirt to bring in there, and you might be able to spread that 100 feet. Just to give you a concept of what we're talking about for maintenance on the roads. What we're afraid of, we meaning most of the full-time residents out there who drive the roads on a regular basis, is this would set a precedent to allow more of these subdivisions to happen. And as our other speakers have stated, when you have everything based on $5 an acre, you split it, there's no additional money, you have additional traffic. That's a concern for us. We moved out there because we loved the area. Another thing is, I'd like to know if this subdivision that Mr. Parsons is requesting, is there going to be a 30-foot easement around the entire lot like we have to have around our lots for access roads? That has not been mentioned. And I still don't understand. He sent us all an email saying, oh, I don't want to do this to make money. I just want to do it because one side of it I can see the cliffs and the other side is where I want to put it on. What's the difference? If you own both parcels, why are you subdividing 1 to 15 to add it to another one to make it 45 or 51 or whatever it is? It just doesn't make sense to me. And in closing, I just would like to state that I'm adamant that this is wrong. And I'm thankful that Mr. Commissioner Abbott brought up a couple questions about our rural property out there and how the other commissioner, is it Gabrielson?
Yes, sir.
Brought up the fact that when we bought these, our CCR said 36.1. And if we have to have 3/4 of the entire POA to change it, why don't we do that first before we look into saying, okay, this is okay? Because I guarantee you're not going to get it. And if that's what our CC&Rs say, how come staff recommended passing this? That's all I got to say, sirs.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Sir?
So you have a POA that is established and you have regular meetings and, you have like a board member?
Yes, sir. We had a board. We have 7 members.
Okay.
We have 7 directors.
And do you have like an architectural committee, so if anybody who wants to build out there would be able to provide plans or anything or you just a POA regulations?
I'm not sure about that part. I've only been retired for 3 years living there. I've owned the property for 11. I'm not sure about that aspect of it.
Okay. Do you know if the CC&R that you're referring to is recorded with the Mojave County, in the Mojave County?
I couldn't answer that. Like I said, I'm not one of the directors.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Christine Abram?
I'm Christine Abrahamian. I'm a full-time resident at Willow Creek. I own 4 parcels, 3 on the north side, 1 on the south side. First, I'd like to read a letter from one of our neighbors that couldn't attend. It says, I cannot attend this meeting due to being on a job in Las Vegas. Therefore, I have emailed my comments to Chrissy Abrahamian to read for me. First off, the bylaws of Willow Creek Ranch state that all parcels will be a minimum of 36 acres. These bylaws were in effect, and the minimum parcel size was known when each parcel was purchased. There is no legal reason for you, the Mojave County Zoning Board, to override the AR 36 zoning period. Second, the act of breaking up of the minimum 36-acre parcels would degrade the capacity of our road maintenance program. We already have quite a conundrum with road maintenance, and rezoning from the current AR 36 would negatively impact our ability to properly maintain our roads and our property value. Again, there is no legal reason to grant the rezoning effort. Third, Willow Creek Ranch is currently, as it currently exits, would be negatively impacted if parcels are rezoned to smaller sizes. There would be an influx of owners that would wreck the peace and quiet that we landowners have come to Willow Creek to enjoy. My wife and I purchased property in the ranch to escape the throng of people that we were forced to deal with on work days. We want to escape to the peace and quiet that the ranch offers. Rezoning would destroy the oasis of calm, not today or tomorrow, but eventually. I understand that some properties have been rezoned, and I want that to stop now. I want to stop the Mojave County Zoning Board from putting us further down that slippery slope. Also, if the Mojave County Zoning Board were to modify the existing AR 36 zoning of the Willow Creek Ranch, the apportioning of dues, voting rights, and other items that would be needed to be decided by the Willow Creek Ranch POA would further complicate matters needlessly. In closing, I request the Mojave County Zoning Board deny this motion and future attempts to dismantle the sanctity of Willow Creek Ranch. Signed, Brian and Lisa West, 4019 North Willow Ranch Road, Kingman, Arizona.
Did she submit that?
Could you submit that, give that to the clerk? Any questions of the speaker? I will enter, oh, wait, I have another speaker to go. Thank you very much. John Pirog, I think. Please state your name and address.
My name is John Pirog, and I'm co-owner of parcel 143 at Willow Creek Ranch. I've been asked to, before I get to mine, I've been asked to read this one on behalf of two other property owners, Britton and Reva Miles. We are opposed to subdividing our parcels here at Willow Creek Ranch. We bought here for the room we had between us and our neighbors. Joe Carl Parsons has created this problem on his own, which is documented in board meeting minutes and emails that I have copies proving this information. He had given permission for the road to be diverted onto his property, which created a problem on the sale of this piece of property. The new owners did not want the liability of people driving on their private property. If Mr. Parsons wants to petition the county to extend the easement on this part of his private property and have it surveyed and documented like it should have been done years ago, he wouldn't be having this problem now. Let him fix his problem without subdividing his parcel. Britton and Reva Miles. And this is from myself and my wife, parcel 143. We are once again voicing our strong objections to any actions by the county that would reduce the minimum parcel size from 36 acres at the Willow Creek Ranch. We purchased our property back in 1999 with the understanding that 36 acres would remain the minimum size parcel at the ranch. To rezone, subdivide to smaller sizes would mean more parcels and eventually more people. This would negatively impact the current rural nature of our ranch community. I think that environmental impacts need to be carefully evaluated before even considering any rezone. We enjoy our country surroundings, and the wildlife viewing opportunities the present environment offers. The proposed rezone would contribute to negatively altering that rural environment we currently enjoy.
Okay, any questions of the speaker? Would you like to give the clerk your copies of your letters there? Thank you. We have no more speakers on the item. Any questions or comments from the commission?
I guess we have somebody from.
Yes.
May I approach?
Sure. State your name and address again.
Al Andrews, 17768 East Cougar Court, Willow Creek Ranch. The commissioner asked if our bylaws and CCRs are recorded. They are recorded. When you asked me, I didn't know until I went back there, and the past president told me they are.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Any additional questions, comments from the commission?
We have Kathy to speak.
Yeah, is that,
Kathy, do you want to address any of these items?
Good morning, Honorable Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Kathy Tackett Hicks. I'm standing in for Rand Holmquist this morning. He's been ill, so I'm taking this over, and really happy I did. There's several things to say here. First of all, the staff has recommended approval because this is compliant with all the requirements of the county. It is a rural area. The fact that there is already a parcel within a few hundred feet, which has already been rezoned to AR10 and AR24, indicates a precedent has already been set. The county has no jurisdiction over CCNRs. That would be a civil matter with these property owners, and I respect that they will do whatever they feel is necessary for that. If you look at this particular lot, it sits right in the middle of this section. The Willow Creek Ranches is made up of 15 separate sections in this township. Okay, there are only 15 or 16 lots on this particular section. That's absolute standard for unsubdivided properties in the state of Arizona. These ones were done over 20 years ago. And you'll see this one is the only parcel that has roads on 4 sides of it, although physically speaking, the roads cannot go through because of a severe topographic issue on this lot. The particular split here, I believe, is unique, and I believe it does warrant your consideration and ultimate approval. I am not aware, I think you have a copy of this. Can this go on the board or on the map? It just shows a split. I don't know, do you have a copy of the split in your packet? Okay, so you'll see that on the west side, that the split is consistent with that slope, the topo. It's about a 100-foot cliff that's right there, and the owner intends to do a lot combination. Oh, okay, that's what I was looking for, something. Yeah. The owner intended to do a lot combination to combine that west half, the slope in the bottom, the road, his parcel abuts up to that. So he would end up with about a 52-acre lot. On his, he would have a remainder lot of 15 to 20 acres, whatever's left of that parcel. Okay. You can see the red. And you can see the topo, the severe topo. This runs along that topo. So the goal was that this Mr. Parsons, and he is here as well to respond to any questions, that he would have control. It would all be one parcel, all the way across to the top of the cliffs and just on the other, just at the top. Okay? So the other side ends up a 15 to 20 acre parcel, which is access from the other side. And you end up with still 2 parcels. There is no extra parcel created. There's still 2 parcels. You start with 2, you end with 2. You end with a 52-acre parcel, and you end with a 17 or 18-acre parcel, whatever that is. You can see that it is clear he has every right to request this. A 15-acre to 20-acre parcel in Mojave County is clearly rural in nature. There are absolutely no adverse impacts, and the concern about extra traffic does not apply because you have one lot for one lot. The topographic differences on this lot does make it unique and different and for your consideration. And as it pertains to their homeowners association dues, there will be no adverse effect on that. and the precedent's already been split. The Willow Creek Ranches, I think in Section 7 there's another split. This is not the first of its kind. I'm happy to answer any questions. I would ask that you consider the staff recommendation of approval and approve this as well. And if you want to make it contingent upon that a lot combination occur with that west half to ensure that there's not an extra lot created, that would be fine. I think I went through most of that, and thank you for giving me the extra half minute.
You got it.
Do you have any questions? The owner is here if you
Mr.
have any
Chairman.
other.
Yes, Mr. Zami.
I believe that the staff recommendation was based on the consistency of the land use ordinance we have on application. However, in the land use ordinance, one item that we have, it says that, the application or the zoning should be consistent with the neighboring properties.
Yes.
So we have that stipulation also in the land use ordinance, and that's where I have problem because, it needs to be consistent with the neighboring properties. So
Okay.
that's why I'm saying that, I understand your argument about, the jurisdiction of the Mojave County, that they have no right to, let's look at, the CCNRs and the bylaws and all that.
Right.
But yet, as I said, in the land use ordinance, we do have that, that it needs to be consistent with the neighboring properties.
Right, and I agree, and I'm saying that this is because there is an AR-10 and an AR-24 that's a couple hundred feet away from this parcel. So from my position, I love that provision in the ordinance because I believe this exactly applies to that.
Kathy, it seems like from all these people that spoke,
Yes.
and I believe what they had to say,
Do you believe me?
yes, I believe
Okay.
what they had to say about signs being put up and taken down, and that one split was maybe railroad through without them knowing about it. That is such a rural area out there. It's almost, I've been out there hunting. I mean, I'd have to almost follow a mountain goat in there to listen to what you say, and I like what you say, and you do your homework, but, man, I can't recommend or approve this. Not at all. And again, I would like to say, make sure you guys know, this is going to go to the Board of Supervisors. We're just making a recommendation, whatever we recommend. So you need to go further with your comments.
Mr. Chairman.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yeah.
There was some additional information with email. It stated that the owner was not interested in financial gain. They wanted to preserve their view. My question is, why not just join the two lots and have one large lot of 70-plus acres?
That is an option. He's here, and maybe he could respond to you easier, because there's no access from that west side onto the upper top. The roads don't go through, so you have to go around. There's no way to get from the bottom to the top without going around the other roads. Both of them end right here and here, at the end of that split on the east side. So there's no access. You can't get over there. And Commissioner Abbott, I respect your views. I respect all of them, and this is a rural area. I do not believe that it would adversely impact the rural area that they have. I have been in Willow Creek before and done project stuff, and I think it's fabulous. I have no problem with that, and I certainly listen to them, and you certainly listen to me. But I also support the property owner who has a request to do something. They have a right to do it, and he did have a certain amount of understanding that it was already done adjacent to his lot, that he would be treated the same as those. And so I think there's an issue here in the fact that he's mitigated the traffic impact, so there's nothing adverse to the other property owners, is commendable from him as well. He lives out there. He's lived out there a long time. He's not leaving. The value of that subdivision is his as much as everybody else's. So I just wanted to throw that out, and I thank you.
Well, I think I need to comment to it. I think there is a big thing here about land use ordinance, trying to keep your property the same as like property around it. And I think we've stuck something in there that's split that probably these people didn't know about it.
Coming in and talking on this behalf. I guess my biggest concern is the split prior was before my time. But people buy in HOAs, they buy in POAs and CCRs with the full understanding when they sign the document to buy the property. This is how it is, you're gonna pay this for your roads, until that's dissolved, I have a problem going against that. And as our new commissioner was mentioning, to combine the property, you're solving the problem to combine it and make it the 70-plus because it's your property. Drive a road through it. Put what you want to get to your different points. I think, I think that when you're not in a POA and you're not in an HOA with CCRs, that's when you can look back and start dividing or changing things. Until then, I guess I'd want to see those signatures and everything that he signed up for when he bought this property to make that decision.
Yeah, and when you sign real estate contracts, you're required for disclosure, and on all 36-acre parcels, the Department of Real Estate, that's a disclosure in that, so those are disclosure issues. It doesn't make them unique. They are disclosed, though. But anyways, the property owner is here if you have any other questions for him.
Well, you're representing the property owner, and his email says he's not wanting to do this for any means of selling or so forth. And I think Melanie has a fabulous idea. If he wants to get
She's
those
fabulous.
joined, combine them together. I don't think anyone there would object to having a 72-acre parcel. I can't speak for them, but I believe they'd be happy with that, but not a 15 and a 40 or 18 and a 52. That doesn't conform to their 36-acre minimum.
Mr.
Would you like to ask him, or, I can't answer that either.
No, that's
Okay.
really not my
Mr. Gordon?
responsibility to suggest to him.
I'd like to add to what Mr. Abbott's saying. The way this is presented to us, it's a rezone to split the parcel in half. And that, to me, clearly doesn't fit the underlying, what's been going on out there. I understand that there, was one action that's taken place in the past, and I've been through this on both sides plenty, and precedent, just because something happens doesn't mean it sets a precedent that happens every time going forward. And in this case, if this was presented differently, maybe this isn't right. If he's trying to adjoin half of this to another parcel and end up with 2 parcels instead of 3, there's something a little different to talk about there. The way this is presented, he's making 2 parcels into 3 parcels. And on top of that, by doing this, even if he was going to join it and still keep 2 parcels, the 1 parcel is clearly going to be under 36 acres.
Yeah.
Whether or not the CCNRs restrict that or not, I would like to see proof of that before I would agree to that. But in the end, if that is the goal, to create 2 parcels, one being under for various reasons, I feel that the association would need to approve it. I would like to see the association, be on board with whatever action is transacted here.
I understand that it's happened, there's been a couple of splits. I know there's another one in 7. I didn't check the whole thing. I clearly understand your views. I think we're okay on that.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Just validating what Commissioner Gordon is saying. Bottom line is that, yes, there were a couple of parcels, maybe 1 or 2, that, they fly under the radar and somehow didn't.
And that's
they
possible.
reported, which is very possible.
Yeah.
But you see the majority of other, properties are respecting, and if, that is the case, that, the intention when they purchased was to be 36. This, as I said, in the land use ordinance clearly states that, it has to be consistent with the neighboring property. And this makes that inconsistent. So that's my comment.
Makes it consistent.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Come on back up.
I'd like to speak too.
Okay, all right, we'll give you a chance.
In response to Al Andrews, 17768 East Cougar Court, Willow Creek, in response to Commissioner Abbott's question about putting it together and combining it into 1 lot, my understanding of our CCRs, because there's state trust land, it's like a checkerboard.
Right.
And every lot has to have a 30-foot easement on all around it. So when you have two lots together, there's 60-foot easement between them. I own two lots right next to each other, but I still got to keep that 60-foot easement open.
Right.
So you can't just put it together and then put your own roads through it wherever you want to, because you will be going through that easement. And that easement is meant for, my understanding, is so the cattle can move around the ranch if you barbed wire off and fence off your property. Okay? So the concept is there has to be an easement. That's why I asked earlier if there was going to be an easement around this also, just like it is around a 36, a 40, a 38. And that, I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Good point.
That when you bring it together, that doesn't mean that's 170-acre lot. It still has to have an easement between them. Thank you.
Unless they marry them. If they marry the lots, then they can do whatever they want.
Oh, see, well, that's,
Yeah.
my question, my understanding is you can't marry lots together out there.
That's not what's recorded.
Yeah, I don't know what's in the CCNRs or.
But the main thing is also, it seems like Rand's staff person over here keeps talking about in one breath, oh, it's already been a precedent set. But then in the next breath, she says, oh, this won't cause any adverse effect in the future. If you do it, that adds to the precedent from back in whenever that happened to currently. Now they have another precedent that they can say, oh, it's already been okayed. Thank you for your time.
You bet. Come on up, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning. My name is Joe Carl Parsons, and I'm the one that started this problem. Before I tell you my whole story, I did want to say one thing, and that's there's a number of owners in the property. Now, when I first moved there, there were only 10 people that lived out there. I first moved there in 2003. Now there's, they say, probably close to 100, maybe a little more. But anyway, many of the people that are there now are on my side. Now, why they didn't come out here and talk, I don't know, because I didn't actually ask them to. But okay, my story is this. The reason I bought the property, when I retired, I lived in California, and I wanted the desert, and I love the cliffs in Lookout Canyon, which is where this is. And I bought one piece of property, then another one, and then the third one. This 20 is the third one that I bought. The problem, because it's full of these really gorgeous, gorgeous cliffs, which is what I absolutely love. The reason I sold lot 20, I sold it once because I don't like the top part. I love the cliffs, but I don't like the top part. And so I sold it, and then every time I drove down Lookout Canyon Road, when I looked at those cliffs, the ones you see in the sort of a part of the picture there, I thought, oh no, how did I get rid of those? So I went ahead and talked to the people who I'd sold it to, and they sold it back to me. The problem is, now what I decided to do, the reason I want to split this is I want to take the cliffs and make them, it's probably going to be about 12 or 15, not even 15 acres, it's probably about 12 acres. And then I will add that to my lot, which is across Lookout Canyon Road. But then I don't have to have that for that lot at the top that I don't like very much. But the big point about what all these people who were against me said, this has nothing to do with splitting lots up and selling extra lots. I'll probably sell the lot on top if you guys approve it, and if the county approves it, then I'll probably sell the lot on top to somebody else. But just it by itself, and I will definitely add the lot that the part with the cliffs, I'll add that to my other lot, lot 19. That's the story I want to know. I'm not interested in making extra money or anything like that. When When I first bought Lot 20, I spent a whole bunch of money, and what I sold it for was way less than half. And then I paid more than what I sold it for when I bought it from the people. So money is, I've spent a lot of money buying cliffs. And that's what I want to do this for. And I also do happen to have copies of this if everybody wants to look at this.
Yeah, we have copies, sir.
You do? Okay, good.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I have a question. When you purchased your properties,
Yes.
you were aware that this is a minimum 36 acre, is that correct?
Yes, actually, and I was part of the board originally, and I agreed with that. Because we didn't want to split it up to a bunch of different people, so there'd be a whole bunch of people coming in, and if they were 5 acres, that would be an extra hundreds of people driving down the road, ruining the road. And what I'm doing to split this up has nothing to do with adding extra people, and has nothing to do with driving down the road.
And I'm sure that, you are aware that, whoever purchased after you, because you are number 10, as you said, anybody after you, that was disclosed to them that is going to be a minimum 36 acre when they purchase the property. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, but it won't be, I think they may, I didn't sign anything like that when I bought it the second time, when I bought it back.
Okay, thank you.
Well, you should, oh, yeah, okay. Well, if you did it through a Realtor, you'd have to have a property disclosure. Any additional questions of the speaker? All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
We'll,
Thank you, and
we have no
I'll thank you if you make that decision.
Thank you.
Thank you all very, very much.
Want to come forward just for a minute?
Oh, did you have a question, Mr. Gordon? No.
Okay, thank you.
Skip Porter, as I stated before, I own the 2 parcels that border this property. Originally, when Mr. Parsons came up and talked to me, his idea was to sell me the top half that he didn't want, because see, I'm up on the top, which isn't as nice a piece of property, but to sell that to me and add it to my property, and he would keep the bottom half and add it to his property. Well, when the real estate agent got involved in this situation and convinced him that it would be better to sell the top half off because she could get a lot of money for it, even though the small parcels that are up there are hard to sell, this is how this whole thing ended up. Now, there's 2 other parcels that border this also that he could sell it to. I'm not really that interested in owning the land. I just don't want another small parcel, a 15-acre parcel next to me. That's where I'm at. Okay?
Okay.
So, thank you.
Appreciate that bit of history there. Any questions of the commission to anybody?
I'd like to make a comment
Sure. Go ahead,
regarding
Mr.
this.
Abbott.
I appreciate what the gentleman is trying to do to the property. I see what he's trying to do. I respect that, but I've said enough about the other things, so I just want him to know I respect what he's trying to do there, but it's unfortunate things we've already talked about. I won't try to repeat any of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to object this, what do I want to say? Deny this request.
We have a motion by Commissioner Abbott and a second by Commissioner Gabrielson. Any further discussion?
I would just like to add that that made it a lot clearer what the intent was by the applicant.
Yes, I'd agree.
And being a land planner, I understand a natural division of that cliff should have probably been possibly where the property line was originally. But in the end, if that's truly the intent of what's going on here, I would suggest that he visits with the POA and works towards a resolution. There may be someone that wants the upper piece to add to their piece, or but it's clear that either there's CC&Rs in place that restrict it from going under 36 acres, or that is clearly what most of the association feels is the case. And either way, without their blessing, I wouldn't vote to go under 36 acres. So,
yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to make one statement about the POA and this CC&R. what I understand is Mojave County is not a party to that agreement. And so when staff made the recommendation, they did not take that into consideration. Just wanted to make sure that was clear. I think it's been said maybe a few times in a few different ways. And that is all.
Have a motion, a second already.
Do we have a second on the
You
motion?
already have?
Yes.
Gabriel's.
Need a vote.
Oh, okay. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion denied. All right, that concludes our meeting today. Call to the public on any item that is not on the agenda today. Okay, we'll close the public, call to the public. Any reports or comments from staff or the commission?
Would you welcome the new commissioner?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes. We have a new commissioner on the board today, Melanie Bauer. Rural, that's close. Anyway, welcome aboard, and we appreciate your comments, and we'll have some fun.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. No other comments? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Abbott, second by Mr. Gabriel, or Gordon. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, mission accomplished. Thank you.
When it gets to the end of the meeting,